Welcome back, diffusers. Today, we're filming part 2 of the story we started last week, where my mom is going to go through her experiences and insights. The tea we brewed today is chamomile and lavender, so if you want to brew up a cup of your own or your own favorite tea, go ahead and do that now and take a seat with us while we steep in our feelings.
Today, I'm going to share my experiences, and I'll start when I was younger, because I think it will help provide a little bit of an explanation of some of the suffering that Lily's had to encounter. I believe my sister, who has since passed away, had borderline. Because my mom had spent much of her life trying to keep my sister out of trouble, she was detached from all of us, and she was particularly jealous of any accomplishments we had. And I had early on gone to college, supporting myself, but she was very envious of my career, and we were not close because of that. She had very narrow expectations of what a good daughter should look like. And so I had basically no support financially or any kind of safety net from her. I did have a close relationship with my dad. I feel like my job now is to accept myself. So in my journey with myself, that's where I am. This, I think, contributed to inexperience as a validating and open mom to Lily. I felt I was going through the motions of doing everything I needed to do. I just think as a mother, I was emotionally unavailable. I didn't grow up knowing how to do that, how to be there for her. And I think that some of what she was saying in our first episode can be attributed to that unavailability at times.
I would actually say over-availability.
Oh, that's interesting.
You seemed to overcorrect for the attention that your mom never gave you.
I overcompensated.
Yeah. You were very attentive to the degree that it was hard for me to do things on my own because you had already done them.
Mm-hmm.
So it was hard for me to learn how to do things as an adult because you didn't want me to make mistakes.
I probably tried to fix that.
Yeah. So it was never indifference. It was the opposite.
And I recognize a lot of what you're saying. I have worked on it in my own therapy because I know that I've always wanted the best for you. And I only learned in the last few years that the best for you isn't the same as the best for me. And so for most of your 30 years, I think I felt that there was some sort of equation of happiness. If you were able to have a good career and meet the right person and, have a nice house, I think I truly believed that would lead to happiness. And it was only recently that I realized that's not the case. You have your own happiness.
So I remember you saying in your early adulthood you didn't want to be a mom.
No, I was very busy building a career and getting started. I struggled financially and emotionally as a young adult, trying to find my way. And I did not see how I could ever add a child to that life. And then I hit 35, 36, and all of a sudden I was relaxed in my career and married and wanted a child.
So you had a child, I guess some would say later in life.
Mm-hmm.
You were 40 when you had me. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I was a high-risk pregnancy, and we did fertility. So that involved some hormone injections, and it, for whatever reason, because of the high-risk pregnancy, the placenta started to tear away, and the experts suggested that we go ahead and have the baby 6 weeks early. And again, I think because of the stress of all that, because I was again on hormones, I developed some kind of a staph infection that I think you picked up. And so not only were you small and born early and had to go on bilirubin lights and in an incubator, and you were in the NICU for 2 weeks, but you also had a very high white blood cell count. And so they ruled out everything and over the 2 weeks and came to the conclusion that it must have been like a group B streptococcus infection, and your white blood cell count was normal, so they sent you home. And I've always wondered if during all of that stress, if it didn't exacerbate some kind of a biological vulnerability that maybe I passed down to you through my family, and then it worked together with some of the chaos that you experienced as a child, and was kind of like the perfect storm for borderline.
And you used a sperm bank, so
Yes.
So I don't know half of my genetic history.
Yes.
Because in the 90s, they didn't give that information out.
No. And your dad couldn't have kids, so that was our only avenue to start a family. So I've always wondered if a combination of all those things set you up for being emotional and sensitive. Why are you laughing?
Emotional is an interesting way to put it.
Well, I believe, I've heard that the medical profession is moving away from borderline disorder to emotional dysregulation. CED, chronic emotional dysregulation.
So, talk about me a little bit as a little tyke. Was I overly emotional, or?
No, in fact, you were such a good child that we had you in a Montessori school, and I think her name was Cindy, was your teacher, and she called me one time and she was all excited because you got in trouble. You and your friend at that time, it was a Mother's Day tea, and everyone was washing the tea glasses, and you decided to jump from one container of soapy water to another, and they told you both to stop, and you didn't, and you laughed, and so Cindy had to have me come in for a parent-teacher conference. But she laughed the whole time. She said, "I'm so glad Lily finally acted out because she was just too good." And when you were a baby, you did not cry to eat. We had to set an alarm every 4 hours. And you were very good, very well behaved in grammar school. And I think when you hit middle school, you had, just sort of the usual acting out or testing the waters.
Never acted out.
Not really.
I never acted out. I knew I couldn't, so I didn't.
Yeah, just an example I recall, we were in family therapy at the time, and you and another kid in after school care decided it would be funny to switch your backpacks, because then you could go home and say that you had the wrong backpack, so you didn't have homework. And so we were in family therapy, and the two of you exchanged your backpacks again the next day. And the therapist said, "Well, did Lily have any negative consequences for doing that?" And I said, I don't even know what negative consequences are. And she said, you've never done them with Lily? And I said, nope. She never needed them. And so she had to like list them out. Well, she can't have her phone for a couple of days. She may have to stay home this weekend. I mean, and so we took away your phone for a couple of days. And you don't even remember that?
No, I don't remember. I have very large gaps in my memories from childhood. I don't remember most of elementary school. I think I started gaining more memories in 7th grade, but I don't have much before then.
Well, coincidentally, this did happen in 7th grade. Maybe you were starting to become yourself in 7th grade.
I didn't know what that was. I still don't know what that is. What you saw as me expressing myself was me trying to make myself smaller.
Mm-hmm.
I know that we had a lot of disagreements on me wearing baggy black clothing. That's just, it's what helped me feel smaller and helped me feel less visible.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't finding myself. I still don't know who myself is. I still am. Now, at 33, I'm finding myself.
Mm-hmm.
Then it wasn't safe to find myself. I had to keep track of where you were because you got sad quite often.
Mm-hmm.
When I was little. So I kind of made it my mission to help you with that however I could. And I was a kid, so I didn't know I couldn't fix it. So I tried. My dad, there were a lot of adult figures in my life that I felt like I needed to take care of. Because you felt so fragile.
Mm-hmm.
That I didn't know if you would be okay sometimes when I left for my dad's house. I didn't know if you were okay when I was gone.
Is that why you wanted to stop going over there in high school? Or was that for other reasons?
That was for other reasons.
Oh, okay.
So you got me into therapy when I was 10.
Mm-hmm.
After I had told you I had thoughts of unaliving myself.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what any of those therapists said or any of my teachers said?
Basically, all of the mental health people we used, they all were concerned with, because you were born early, your first diagnosis when you were like 4, because you were such a good child, we took you to a local psychiatrist, and she did a lot of tests, and she said that you were low arousal and slow transitioning. And it was evident when we shared a nanny with a couple other girls, and the other girls would climb up on the couch and fall and cry and get in trouble and spill things and hide things. And you were very happy. You were very content to sit and watch and laugh and join in that way. But it concerned the psychiatrist that we had, because she said that at those ages, most kids are curious and exploring and getting into trouble and falling. And so she diagnosed you with that, and with the caution that we needed to test you about the age of 10 for, at that time it was ADD, attention deficit disorder, because she said in the majority of cases that low arousal, slow transitioning developed into ADD. And so we did do comprehensive testing. It was some blind testing with the teachers for, I think, 2 or 3 months. And it was with 2 different teachers, I think. And they both scored you very similar, that you did have trouble paying attention and staying on task. And so in general, the therapist recognized that you had this tendency to not stay on task. And it would sometimes look like you weren't being responsible, but you were. And so one of the therapists that we worked with cautioned us about using very generic ways of assessing where you were. And for instance, at that time there was a Sims game. It was a simulated family, and you were very interested in that. You played it a lot and you loved it, and we got you different modules. And this therapist said, you know, that's for her at this point in her life, that's how she's introducing herself to social situations. And if she doesn't have very many friends right now, don't worry. And that therapist told us not to worry about a lot of things. That,
Like what?
Being messy or forgetting things, or maybe spacing out during math and having the math homework in your backpack, but completely forgetting to turn it in. And he was saying, don't worry about that. He said, just let her be her right now. And if she's happy, don't worry. And so most of the therapists were just concerned with your lack of focus and how quiet you were. Because if you came in and didn't feel like talking, then they relied on what I would say, which after a number of years became irrelevant. They wanted to hear it from you. And so they would ask me, maybe pull me aside at the end and say, you know, she seems a little depressed. Why don't you watch her this week?
So did you have any idea of how depressed I was?
No, because you were so quiet and you had interest in things that you loved, certain TV shows, and there were certain movies that you loved. You'd watch them over and over. And I assumed that kind of happiness was a reflection of you being content. I didn't realize you were depressed.
I remember there was a story you told me that one of my teachers said I was a weird kid.
He wasn't aware as the other teacher that of your ADD. And so and I'm sure he didn't have any background in understanding it. So in order for you to focus, you would chew on your sweatshirt sleeve or chew on your pencil, and you were new to the rest of the class, and so they didn't know you. And so if you chewed on a pencil and it dropped on the floor, somebody else would complain to the teacher that it was gross. And so that's where that came from.
Yeah, I got made fun of a lot in elementary school. You guys had to put me in physical therapy and occupational therapy. Because I guess, why did you have to put me in?
You were in occupational therapy since you were born because you couldn't suck, swallow, and breathe. So when you ate, you'd stop breathing. And so we had you on a monitor when we first brought you home from the hospital for a few months, until our pediatrician said, you're making yourself nervous, and in turn you're making her nervous by having her on the monitor, so take her off. But the occupational therapy came in because you were slow developing, and in fact the kindergarten teachers suggested we hold you back, but we didn't think that would be in the long run the right thing, because you were very bright. You tested with that psychiatrist that said you had low arousal, slow transitioning. She said the good news is she's very bright, so we didn't want to hold you back. But the developmental things, learning to write well and color and draw things, you struggled with. And writing becomes more critical as you get older in school. And so they kept you in occupational therapy. And you also had, you did speech therapy too for a little while, because you had a list, and they thought it was all attributed from being born 6 weeks early. And the physical therapy also was that your muscles, in order to walk, you were 18 months, and they said, well, she should start walking. And so we took you to a physical therapist, and they picked you up and put you in the middle of a waterbed mattress on the floor, and it forced you to walk. But what you were noticing earlier, my overcompensation as a mother, I just let you crawl. I didn't force you to walk. So you just crawled everywhere and scooted around on the furniture and happy as a clam. And it took someone else to put you on that waterbed mattress for you to figure out you needed to walk.
It's kind of interesting because that is a theme of my childhood, is I didn't learn healthy boundaries from any of my parental figures. I know that you had a hard time with abandonment, and I saw that from a really early age. My dad was pretty neglectful and didn't have the most patience in the world. So I couldn't really learn from him because he became not a safe person.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know the extent of my lack of boundaries until I got into my kind of mid-20s, almost late 20s, going into my treatment journey. That I will go into in a different video because this will be a very, very long video if we start to cover that. It's interesting hearing you talk about how you didn't see the need to give me that boundary.
I think I was from the school of suck it up, buttercup, and just figuring out a lot of stuff on my own. And I think I didn't think in terms of boundaries. I didn't think in terms of safety. I didn't think in terms of mental health challenges that a lot of kids have. And I truly think I thought that if I provided you with enough love and activities and you had friends, that, for instance, a boundary issue or a safety issue, I thought you were going to grow out of it. I also had, when you were asking about therapists, a couple of them said, we don't like to label, especially with children, because it becomes their identity. Like, you know, if they were even hesitant to do attention deficit disorder, but they wanted the teachers to be aware of it. Most therapists said they don't want to diagnose a child because then the child will look for evidence that they are.
That's really interesting.
I think that the profession's changed, and I know that as of about 5 years ago, they wouldn't diagnose anyone under 18 in America, United Kingdom, or Canada with borderline personality disorder. They've since changed. So you were growing up in that generation where everything was changing.
And it's hard because I have quiet borderline.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't have been diagnosed until later anyway.
That's right. I think you're absolutely right.
It is interesting because growing up, ADHD, well, now it's called ADHD and attentive type, but what I knew as ADD was comforting to me because there were some explanations, and I was, when I was diagnosed, I didn't understand, but as I got older, it kind of helped me to say, this is normal for me, and that's okay.
Yeah, and I think that that was one of the reasons it was good for everyone in your life. It allowed us as parents to ask for a second set of textbooks to have at home. And, no matter what it took, those things almost none of the adults in your life cared about because overall you were succeeding. And that's what that one therapist that I really liked said, you need to give her the experience of success. Because if she fails at these sort of benign expectations that are in the school system, good grades, organization, turning in homework on time, if she fails over and over in those things, she will learn failure. And he said, so whatever has to be done for children that struggle so that they can achieve success and understand what that is and what it feels like, that's what you need to do.
And that's so interesting because I was getting messages from other adults in my life in other ways that I was a failure, that I, as a human, as a little kid, wasn't okay, that I was too much. And I know I was called sensitive a lot growing up. Did you notice that I had more of a hair trigger than other kids?
Mm-hmm. And, again, referring back to the introduction, when we talked about my experience with family connections, the most important skill out of the entire 12 weeks, almost 100% of the participants say, is learning how to validate. And that, again, was something in the 90s that people never talked about, validation. And yet, someone who struggles as a child and is maybe neurodivergent or maybe just a little bit different than the rest of the people in the family, or the rest of their friends, those people experience invalidation a lot through their early years. A lot of people who don't get that kind of validation for the things that somebody else values, then they crave it more. They move into their college years and 20s and into marriages and into friendships where it's important, maybe with someone who's feeling low or bad about themselves, it's important to, we say, validate 3 times first. The other validating thing that we always tell people is to say, I love you a lot. Because someone who didn't get a lot of validation experiences insecurity in a lot of little decisions and makes it hard to have close relations.
Was there any part in my childhood that you thought to yourself that, and I know you didn't know what borderline was, or you didn't even know to look for borderline, but was there any part in my childhood that you thought to yourself, my child is struggling?
Yes, because I knew that developmentally there were things that you were delayed with. And so I thought any kind of friendship that you had, if, for instance, they started getting their ears pierced or started wearing a skirt that looked cute with a matching top, if like you said, when you were wearing all black, in my mind, I explained it by thinking, well, she's just socially a little delayed too. And that was how I made it make sense. I thought,
really, it wasn't until I hit crisis that you
right,
understood.
That's right. Because I thought, coincidentally, when you were 18, 19 years old, the mental health community changed the definition of the maturity of the amygdala part of the brain. And it went from 18 to 25. They said many kids don't have a full mature brain at 18. And that's why there's a lot of, car accidents and drinking and, they don't perceive that there's any consequences. And all of that starts maturing, they started to say, at 25. So I just, until you were in your early 20s, I thought, well, she's someone whose brain isn't maturing until she's 25. And it didn't cross my mind to think that it would take longer or be something more serious. I trusted the professionals. And none of the therapists that you had ever took me aside and said, I think maybe there's a different diagnosis here. And I think you should watch for certain things. And no one did.
I was very good at masking.
Maybe that's what it was.
I was very, very good at masking. Not so much anymore. It takes a lot of energy. I don't want to do it. But I was very, very good at masking back then. So that's interesting to me because I do remember when I did hit crisis and we started ending up in the hospital together over and over for various reasons that we'll go into. I remember thinking to myself, oh wow, she does look confused. She looks blindsided almost.
Oh, I was in denial. I mean, I just thought, I was a late bloomer. I didn't really mature. I didn't really have a stable living environment until I was in my early 30s. And, I graduated late from college anyway, so that got extended, my college years, because I was working. But it didn't seem different or odd. I thought, maybe when I was in my early 20s and I had partied too much, I could have ended up in the hospital, or any number of reasons I could have ended up in the hospital. And actually, I thought I probably was pretty lucky that I didn't. So that's what I was experiencing. I thought, oh, wow, she got unlucky, ended up in the hospital, and this will work itself out.
Oh, wow. So really, what was it that kind of made it click? Was it my attempt?
Yes. And then when you went to the residential treatment center, the first one, it was right at the beginning of summer. So June you went in, and then June came and went, and July came and went, and it was August. I think I can't remember when you came home, but I remember it. I believe it was 3 months, wasn't it?
2 months.
2 months.
Yes.
And that's when I realized it was serious.
We're going to get into that the next time we talk about our story. So I think for this week, unless you have anything to add, I think that's it for this week. Thank you for joining us. Our affirmation today is, I am capable, resilient, and deserving. And you are. And if today is hard, keep putting one foot in front of the other. And I believe in you. We believe in you. And thank you for joining us on this journey. See you next Thursday.